Keller Williams. I'm Mike Weisman.
And I'm Matt Dechaine.
And every week, typically on Fridays, we bring you the week's real estate news, what's been happening as far as the transactions, the buying and selling, and a little bit of news going on. We cover two broad markets. We look at, of course, the Greater Portland area, and then we also zero in a little bit and look at the Casco Bay waterfront and waterview properties.
Yeah, we're going to mix up a little bit this week. I'll read the stats. Mike will read the news, just to keep things fresh, and we'll roll right into it here.
All right. So let's jump over and take a look at what's been going on in and around Portland as far as the sales.
Okay, so currently 159 active listings here in Portland, down 14 from last week. Typical for this time of the year, but, winter's coming. We're between the big holidays, so you'll see that often.
Right.
Breaks out to 74 condos, 64 single families, and 25 multifamilies. So a healthy mix there. And then in the past week, we had obviously a bunch of home sales, 22 total.
Right.
The lowest priced was a single family Cape that sold above list price of $175 for a sale price of $183. It features 2 beds, 1 bath, 900 square feet, and it's out on Warren Ave. On the higher end, right on the edge of town by Westbrook over in Stroudwater Preserve, a single family home was sold, and it's a to-be built. So the Stroudwater Preserve has 44 homes in that development. So this one was sold, to be customized for the family coming in.
Sure.
The specs on it, from what we've seen, is 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, about 2,800 square feet, so good size home.
House, yep.
And it's sold for $629 after 0 days on the market,
Right.
which with these kinds of spec homes to be built is kind of typical. They usually have the buyers ahead of time. So.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Now let's take a look at the Greater Portland area news, what's going on. So we have some good news now for the tight rental market in Portland, which we've all been experiencing. An additional 196 market rate apartments are being added to downtown Portland's multifamily inventory. It's going to be known as Bayside Village Apartments. The building is located in the Bayside neighborhood near I-295 in the Back Cove. So that is really good news. Anytime we have news of new inventory coming on, new apartments that are what they call market rate,
Right.
Which means they should be priced, according to the average market.
Whatever demand dictates.
Whatever demand dictates, it's still good news.
Sure.
Right? Because we were at a meeting, Matt and I just last night, welcoming the new mayor of Portland.
Yep.
And the new elected officials, and that came up all the time. Keep, more housing inventory, more affordable housing inventory.
Sure. For those of you who understand the supply and demand laws well, the reason Portland's expensive is there's not enough supply. So any news of more housing is great for those of you, those of us that want to live in the city without paying an arm and a leg. Right.
Yeah. So that's really good news. Okay. So should we cover the rest of that? What's anything else to add on it?
There's a few notes about how the units will be made, renovated over 2 years as they become vacant, because there's currently tenants in there. They're going to have ADA accessible housing, and then they'll increase the amenities offered right now among some other renovations.
Right. These are existing units. There's new. It's actually new stock coming on.
It's an existing building that wasn't managed well, and will be remanaged, renovated, and then will be a public housing now. While before it was kind of for students.
Oh, nice. Yeah. One of the things that our new mayor mentioned yesterday evening was the real commitment to really dig deep and deal with housing, looking at places that aren't traditionally have density, maybe increasing some density in houses in places that would be more open or industrial spaces.
Sure.
They're not being utilized now as well as they could be.
And to give an example, a lot of zoning in Portland is for a single family home.
Right.
Well, if that can be a 2 or 3 unit, now you can put 2 to 3 times as many people in there in that one space. So although dense housing may disrupt some neighborhoods, that's another way to keep prices down. So it's walking the line between being livable and affordable.
Right, and I think that's sort of the tension, but I think that's also it was a very positive outcome. I think they really want to preserve that character of Portland. They want to preserve the look and feel of it, and I think they're going in the right direction with that.
I agree. Yeah, I'm anxious to see what Mayor Snyder does for the city. I think we have a good future. So
yeah, for sure. All right, now let's turn attention over to Casco Bay and look at our market stats for Casco Bay.
So our weekly Casco Bay Market Watch, as we remind you every week, Casco Bay is from Cape Elizabeth to Cape Small, which is the end of Phippsburg. Currently, we have 107 active listings here on the market. We're down 2 from last week, so about the same. And there are 42 homes pending. The Casco Bay region only had 4 closings again this past week.
Right.
Excuse me. The lower priced end brought us a single family with water views of the Back Cove right off Baxter Boulevard here. It's got 3 beds, 1.5 baths, 2,500 square feet of living space, about a 500 that's below grade in the basement. And the home sold for $675 with an original list of $725 after 144 days on the market. So again, once the price is appropriate, it does sell. They just have to be priced for the market.
Right. That's excellent.
The highest priced home sale, single-family cottage style home in Cape Elizabeth. It's in Broad Cove, features 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, and then 2 half baths, 5,000 square feet, and just over 1 acre of land. The nearby notably has a detached office, outdoor shower, and sweeping lawns meeting the rocky coast. The home sold for $2.8 million, down from an original list of almost $3 million after 19 days. So.
That sounds excellent. So now turning attention to Casco Bay news. There's good news, and this was actually mentioned last night also at the Chamber of Commerce meeting. The mayor talked about it. For the working Maine waterfronts, a bill aimed at preserving the character of the coastal communities passed the U.S. House of Representatives this week, and U.S. Rep. Shelley Pingree, introduced the bill, which would provide $24 million in grants and loans to help coastal communities protect jobs, commercial activities, and public access to the country's shoreline. This bill would organize a task force for the Department of Commerce to identify and prioritize critical needs for working waterfronts, especially in the face of climate crisis and increased trade threats. So more than 30,000 Mainers rely on marine-related industries for their livelihood, is what Pingree said. In the news release, yet out of 5,000 miles of coastline, just 20 miles of workable waterfront remain in the state.
I thought that was pretty striking.
Yeah, right. So Ben Martins, executive director of the Maine Coast Fishermen's Association, said, much like we invest in local agriculture and infrastructure, we must find ways to invest in our working waterfront to ensure access and opportunity for fishermen, families, and the next generation.
And I agree. Portland's treasure is the working waterfront. What makes us unique, gives us character. So again, working the balance between development but preserving that is important. And I'm on the side of the fishermen for this one.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, in general, marine resources are a very important part of Maine. Anybody that's living here now or thinking about coming up here, the coastal, the nautical heritage, the active waterfront is a key component of Maine life, Maine economics, and Maine resources.
Yeah, so let's keep it preserved and for generations. So.
That's right. So that is going to wrap us up for this week for our weekly market watch. As always, check out our YouTube channel. There should be a little link down here. You'll see it. If you're on Facebook, I'll put a link below. You can click that link, subscribe to our channel, so you'll get notified as soon as we have new videos coming out. Every week there's new videos coming out.
Yep.
And we have people calling us now from within the state, out of the state, all looking to move or buy or sell or invest around here in Maine. So be sure to check us out on there.
We actually did our first live webinar home buyers class here on Wednesday.
Yep.
And we'll have more in the future on different topics.
That's
so
right.
if you want to learn some more about real estate, plug into that, and obviously we'll be happy to share our knowledge with you.
I'll put a link to that class below again here in the notes. You can catch that. It'll be a rebroadcast. I'll put a link to that. And also we'll tell you more about this. We're running a meetup group now. So the last Wednesday of the month, starting in January, we're taking over a great group called Portfolio with 35 people get together, talk about real estate investing and opportunities.
Yeah, so join us for that if you're a little more deeper in real estate and want to learn some higher level investment strategies.
Yep, fantastic. So that's it for this week. That wraps us up. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.